So this will be my best take all year, without a shadow of a doubt, right? This will be the reason why, if you're on the fence of subscribing to my platform, if you don't subscribe after this video, then I'll probably never get you as a supporter, which is fine. But this is all I got. This is the best of me this year. I promise you, I come on this camera hundreds of times a year. You'll never get a better take from me than what I'm about to give you guys in the next 3 to 5 minutes, all right? We obviously know what's going on in the NBA with Kyrie Irving. He's unvaccinated. Okay, because he plays for the Brooklyn Nets, they're one of the 3 teams that fall under local markets that will not allow people to work in those arenas if you're unvaccinated. Translation, Kyrie Irving will be unavailable for the Brooklyn Nets in their 41 home games if he remains unvaccinated. Now, to be fair to Kyrie, he has not closed the door on getting vaccinated. As a matter of fact, during media day, I don't want to misquote that brother, but he said something along the lines of, I don't want to rule out not being available for my team this season, which to me, I believe in the next couple of weeks, Kyrie Irving will strongly consider getting vaccinated. You know, it's funny to me with Kyrie Irving, right? Who's Kyrie Irving's favorite basketball player? It was Kobe Bryant. When he won a championship with the Cavaliers in 2016, reportedly one of the first phone calls he made was not to family members. It was to get on the phone with Bean and to talk to Kobe and tell Kobe, like, thank you for helping me out in my process. They were Nike brothers. Remember that. Remember, there's a lot of videos floating around during the Team USA camp with Kyrie Irving challenging the old vet and Kobe. And they had some battles, even though Kyrie was a young fella playing on a bad Cleveland Cavaliers team during Kobe's latter parts of his career. You know, Kyrie loved those battles with Kobe. He loved him some Kobe. And I wanted people to check on that, brother, because I always thought that loss would be a big one for Kyrie. And I felt like that would be one that he probably could very well never recover from. Kobe was a big piece of that young man in his life. Kyrie Irving, his favorite player, Kobe Bryant. Do you think for 1 second, if Kyrie Irving played with Kobe Bryant, he'd be unvaccinated right now? It's a serious question I'm asking y'all. Do you think if Kyrie played with Michael Jordan, he'd be unvaccinated right now? Let me answer it for you. Here's my belief. I don't know this. Hell no. He'd be vaccinated. He'd be vaccinated. And one of the reasons why I feel so bad for Kevin Durant is he's being taken for granted. You know, I'm a person who likes the Kobe Bryant type of leadership. That was my favorite athlete of all time. I like when there are other leaders in the room. If I'm a role player in a certain situation, I like being led by one person. The person that puts the most work in, I get inspired by that. Okay? If I'm the best at something in a room, I want to lead. I want everybody to follow my leadership. I'm not going to lead you astray. I want to galvanize the troops. I only bring that stuff up to say that's not Kevin Durant's mode. That's not how he leads. Kevin Durant is I'm here to play basketball. I want y'all to love this game the way I love this game type of leader. And in a lot of scenarios, that works. That's what most of the leaders are today. You don't see Steph Curry going out of his way to be vocal on the court. You don't even see LeBron doing a crap ton of vocal leadership. Most of today's greats are, yo, I'm going to lead by the work that I put in, and I hope y'all respect my love and admiration for this game, and I hope y'all follow it. And I hate that for Kevin Durant right now. I hate the type of leader he is in this scenario. His kindness is being taken for granted. This is the best take I got, y'all. Listen to me here. I want y'all to follow these next couple minutes. It's important. If I were Kevin Durant, I wouldn't even be mad at Kyrie Irving for not being vaccinated right now. It's not about the vaccination for me. Again, I'm not KD. But if I were KD, it's not the vaccination that's getting to me. It's a culmination of things. Here's what I mean. Kyrie Irving has every right to question the government. We all do. Do we believe the government has potentially held information bare minimum or could have just lied to our face in the past? I think that's very credible. So I don't feel like I'm like a conspiracy theorist rocket science out here by saying that, right? I don't trust government 100%. I understand that they have a job to do. It's a difficult job. I respect that. If I feel uncomfortable with something, what am I going to do? Like what? I wasn't the greatest on the vaccination, but I got it. It was the best for me and my family. That's what I felt, at least. I do a lot more stuff that's more questionable that I don't ask the government questions about. So why not take the vaccine? Fine, I'll be a guinea pig for y'all. I'll take it, whatever, right? There's a real reason to not be super trustworthy of the vaccine. If I was KD, it's not that, right? It's not that. That's a real thing to question the government about. Okay, backpedal about 3-4 months to the second round of the playoffs. Brooklyn Nets taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. They ended up losing in 7 games. Okay, if I'm KD, I'm not even mad at the fact that for another series, Kyrie Irving has been unavailable for his team in the postseason. That's like year 3 out of 4. If you include the Boston years where Kyrie Irving has been unable to finish the season. Matter of fact, that's 4 years straight, actually. That's 4 years straight that Kyrie Irving has been unable to finish a season for his team. If you date back to those 2 years in Boston and his 2 years in Brooklyn. Kyrie Irving has not been able to finish it. You know what? Kyrie Irving has and that's kind of getting swept under the rug because he's got so much other stuff going on. He wants to be a Reddit thinker, right? Like, we've kind of forgotten the fact that Kyrie Irving has been injured more times than not. LeBron could argue that he'd be a 5-time NBA champion had Kyrie not got hurt in game 1 of the NBA Finals back in 2015. I mean, the story goes on and on with Kyrie and his injury history, right? The 1 year he finished the season, and probably pretty much the last 7-8 years, his team won a championship. Or it was 2 years because they didn't beat Golden State the first year around, so I stand corrected. But y'all get what I'm. The point is, when Kyrie Irving finishes the season, his team at least gets to the finals, if not wins the dang thing. I wouldn't even be mad if I was Kevin Durant about Kyrie getting injured again. You knew that when he was signed up for Brooklyn. He knew that that's what it was with Kyrie. He gets injured often. I'm going back to one spot last year, January 21, when the Capitol got stormed. With that riot, that stupid riot in which people got hurt and somebody even died in that riot, that to me seems baseless and pointless. When Kyrie Irving, after that riot, decided to miss a couple weeks of action for the Brooklyn Nets, if you remember correctly, right after that moment, that's when the Brooklyn Nets decided to go trade for James Harden. Remember, the season started in December last year, so that was early in the season when the Nets said, all right, we love our guy, Karis LeVert. We got to make a move right now. We can't do this with KD in his prime. We got to go get some protection from Kyrie Irving just in case he decides to never play basketball again. They went and traded for James Harden. See, I believe if you believe in a higher power, this is up to you. I'm not saying you got to, but if I believe in a higher power, and I believe life has a way of humbling you, and life has a way of getting you back when you treat people wrong, right? And I believe this. And I bring that part of this to say, you know, it's kind of the little boy who cried wolf syndrome with Kyrie Irving today with the vaccination. Okay, Kyrie, maybe you do have real concerns about the vaccination. But if I'm Kevin Durant, it's like, damn, Kai, like, okay, you don't want to get vaccinated. Now you can't play. You ironically just in one of the 3 teams that hurts us. We wouldn't have you for 41 games. We can't miss you for 41 games, fam, and go after a championship. This Durant, he loves the game. He cares about his legacy. He cares about it. Like Harden's trying to win a championship. Like, Kyle, we can't go without you for 41 games. We can't go without you for 41 games. Milwaukee just beat us. The Lakers are for real. Like, we can't go without you for 41 games. It's not about the vaccination. Maybe if this was just a standalone thing, we wouldn't even mind you saying, hey, I'm going to take this thing slow, y'all. But it's not just the vaccination. It's not the fact that you missed the end of another season for your team. But to me, the one that could have been avoided, right? Because injuries are a part of the game. Kyrie Irving was balling in that series against the Bucks when he went down. It was actually a freak accident type injury. See, that don't even bother me, right? Like Kyrie getting injured in that scenario, like that was a freak accident. What happened to him against the Bucks in the second round of the playoffs? If you remember correctly, you know what I'm talking about. The vaccine is a real thing to be concerned about. But the one thing, if I'm Kevin Durant, I cannot go to war with Kyrie Irving about, and that's last season in January when he decided to sit out those couple weeks because of the darn storming of the Capitol. That one, if I'm Kevin Durant, that doesn't make sense to me. I can't justify that. And again, I'm telling y'all, it's the little boy that cried wolf. It's always something with Kyrie Irving. And if I'm KD, what I'm thinking about today, not about the vaccination. It's not about him not finishing the season because of injury. What I'm thinking about is how he did me in January. Fam, KD was working himself back after injury, and he was starting to catch his rhythm. Right around that time, Kyrie said, I'm going to sit out for a couple weeks and just went mute on the team. Just went mute on the Brooklyn Nets last year. All right, Kai, you did me dirty. And one thing that a lot of people don't talk about is KD ended up getting injured in February, if I'm not mistaken. Who's to say that because Kyrie went away and KD had to probably play a couple extra games than what he maybe was going to do if the Brooklyn Nets had their full group? Because remember, it would have been Kyrie and Karis LeVert had they not made the Harden trade, right? Who's to say that KD didn't get injured because he felt like he had to play a couple extra games than he maybe would have wanted to early in the season as he was working himself back after the Achilles tear, right? If KD is healthy, maybe last year finishes differently for them if he doesn't miss that time that he missed in the middle of the season. That's the one. That's the best take I got, y'all. If I'm KD, look, the vaccination, there are real reasons to be concerned about it. You know, and maybe Kyrie does take the vaccination because he wants to go to work. Injuries are a part of the game. KD knew Kyrie was injury prone when they both agreed to go to Brooklyn. Whatever. Hell, KD was injured at the time they signed for Brooklyn. He knew about that. What I can't go to war for you about, though, what I cannot excuse, if I'm KD, why I'm so pissed today, not because of the vaccination, it's a culmination of this mess. It's not because of the injuries, it's a culmination of this stuff. You left me hanging in January last year for no reason. Because the premise of that is ridiculous. The fact that Kyrie... This is a wild thing that I'm about to say, right? I said this in my video yesterday. Kyrie sat out a couple weeks because people stormed the Capitol, right? And now he turns around and doesn't trust the same government that got stormed last year. What sense does that make? What? That doesn't make any sense. So last season, you sat out because people stormed the government, right? Now that same government that got stormed, you refuse to take a vaccination from them. Why were you pissed about them storming the government if you don't even trust the government? Well, that doesn't make sense. Consistency is all I'm asking for in people. If I'm KD, I'm fed up with this. Now, what will KD do? Probably nothing because he's a chill leader. He probably won't tell Brooklyn, yo, trade this man. But here's what I know. At some point in time, KD's going to say, man, this dude's hurting me more than he's helping me. As great as he is, he's hurting me more than he's helping me. And maybe, just maybe, a Brooklyn Nets trade of Kyrie Irving might be the best for all parties involved.